Call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners to order. We'll begin this morning with our invocation in absence of our scheduled invocator. We will have our fellow Commissioner Dwayne McFall offer the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Bow your heads with me. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here today to serve Fremont County, for what we do for our citizens to make everything better. We need your blessings to help us with the battles that we fight on the state and federal levels, as well as the local levels. Father, we look for you for encouragement and guidance as we follow through our meeting today. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Here.
Assistant County Attorney Sean Biddle.
Here.
Welcome. Assistant County Administrator Sean Sutton.
Present.
And Planning and Zoning Director Victoria.
Present.
Approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I am again unaware of any changes we need to make to today's agenda, so I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion changes. Or
Next.
accepted. Done. I don't know. Wow.
It's going to be one of those days.
You guys
Next
are good.
item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We do have a couple or three ratifications of chairman's signature and the approval of the Pathfinder Park Event Center's fee schedule for 2027, and we are not scheduling any public hearings.
With that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on our agenda is the administrative and informational portion of the meeting. We begin with our staff and elected officials and turn to our budget and finance officer and our assistant county administrator, who is, actually, I should make note that we do have the A team up here this week. Say that for the benefit of that guy in the back row.
Yeah, or if the other guy's watching on TV too, right?
That's right. So we have our Assistant County Administrator up here and our Budget and Finance Officer, Sean Sutton, as well as our Assistant County Attorney, Sean Biddle. So,
Welcome.
Mr. Sutton, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Nice to be up here this morning and called the A-team. Doesn't happen very often. So before I get started with the retail sales tax and auto use sales tax, I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. Hope you get to enjoy it with lots of family and friends. So with that said, we can get started. So the Fremont County retail sales tax portion for general fund for 2025 September totaled $837,272. This was $37,737 more than 2024. Year to date, we sit at $7,141,252. This is $40,733 more than 2024 and ahead of our 2025 budget at $841,252. The next report that you see is our auto use sales tax for October general fund, which totaled $129,494. This is $48,301 less than 2024. Total collections, we sit at $1,269,488, which is $212,786 less than 2024. Again, I know Clerk Grantham and I have talked about this, but again, last time we'll kind of maybe put this to bed, but We had a couple unusual sales, large sales in both 2023 and 2024, which have been reflected in the comparison from 2024 to 2025. But as you see, we do remain ahead of budget. We budgeted appropriate this year at $206,988. The next report is the lodging tax. So lodging for September totaled $130,497, which is $28,030 more than 2024. Year-to-date collections sit at $344,502, which is $66,695 more than 2024, and ahead of our 2025 budget by $89,502. Next report is the sheriff retail sales tax collection for September 2025, which totaled $558,181. This is $25,158 more than 2024. Year-to-date collections, $4,760,834, which is $27,156 more than 2024, and ahead of budget by $298,334. The last report this morning is sheriff auto use sales tax for October, which totaled $86,329. This is $32,201 less than 2024. Total collections, $846,326, which is $141,858 less than 2024. However, we remain ahead of budget by $150,493. Overall, as you can see, the numbers appear to be pretty strong heading into the last quarter. We'll continue to report these numbers out and make any changes as necessary, but again, overall, pretty strong numbers for this report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions or comments for Mr. Sutton?
I would just make a quick comment that really nice job of budgeting and of forecasting, because we, in several different places, we are behind last year, and yet we're still ahead of budget in every single category. And so I think that's just really impressive. So nice job.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank
Bell.
Yeah, I think that was the point that came to mind as well on that auto use tax. You know, consulting, obviously, and we talked about this all last year too, with those particular sales that happened over the last couple of years, knowing that those aren't going to be happening, budgeting appropriately, and still being ahead of the curve budget-wise on how much revenue we were budgeting. Of note also is that lodging tax. The September numbers were rather healthy, which means that as far as lodging goes, we were ahead of the curve over the main part of the tourist season, and so that's a good thing. Other parts of our industry over the summer did not fare as well as someone in the audience might be able to tell us about. But overall, I mean, just looking at that line going across September, that's usually when we get all those numbers in from we get that revenue in November, but it's reported for September, which is from the basically Memorial Day to Labor Day kind of window is when those numbers are accounted for. And so that was a good number for us. Glad to see that. That's about it. Anything else, sir? Ma'am? Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
We turn now to our county clerk for his monthly report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to all the millions out there watching.
Millions.
Yeah, right. To piggyback on Assistant County Administrator Sutton's report, our October numbers for this year, total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, recording fees collected for October were $1,439,747.39, of which Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $804,132.42, which I should tell people that's what we give pretty much 600,000 to the state at that point. And then of that, it's 56% of the total fees and is $122,614.69 less than October of '24, which we're talking about those big sales. One happened in '24 and one in '23 for that matter. And so that's why these numbers are lower. We didn't have those big sales. And then year to date, our office is down $275,657.40 from last year. So this should complete the last portion of that, those big transactions, and hopefully November and December, we won't see that big of a decline from that 100,000 plus number. So
You said on that 800,000, that 600 of that goes back to the state?
no, so that 1.4 million we collected.
Okay, oh, the difference between
The
those.
difference between the two is 600,000. That 804, that for our disbursement, that's the sales tax we collect for the county and the municipalities. That's the specific ownership tax that we delegate to all the taxing districts of the 20 plus we have. And so of that money that's pretty much left, I could probably get a number. I usually don't report that number because it's really sad, but I would say probably in between 120 and 150,000 the county gets to keep, give or take, of the money that I collect in motor vehicles.
So a tenth.
Yeah, a tenth, if that.
I think that's important, though. There's a lot of people that think that, well, we did $1.5 million or $1.4 million, and our taxes are this and that, and you guys have that money, we don't. That shows that
Yeah.
it goes to the state, it goes to the other taxing entities, and a small portion of it goes back to the county for the services that we do provide.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's the same story with the property tax.
100%.
Property
That's what
tax
I was
bill.
just thinking as well, yes.
But I just thought I'd put that into perspective because people see millions and millions of dollars the county collects and my office gets, but really, no, it's not. We do the services for everybody except for us.
County acts sort of as the clearinghouse for all of these revenues, sources, and
Pretty much.
distributor for them. And so, appearances can be deceiving on that. Okay, any questions or comments? Further
I have a
questions or
motion.
comments, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report for the month of October 2025.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We once again turn to Mr. Sutton for the county administrator report. Mr. 18.
Change your hat.
Yep, let's flip the glasses around
There
somewhere.
you go,
I
okay.
want to see so far anyway, but yep. So thank you. Yes, I'll be taking care of the county administrator report while Tony's out this week, hopefully enjoying his family with, again, the Thanksgiving break. So to get started, Fremont County has the following job opportunities posted. At the assessor's office, we have an appraiser that closes December 3rd, 2025. The Department of Human Services has 3 open positions: an economic security technician, which closes December 1st, 2025, a social caseworker, family treatment, drug court, which closes December 3rd, 2025, a social caseworker ongoing team, which closes December 3rd, 2025. Next, our Department of Transportation has a light heavy-duty technician, which closes November 26th, 2025. And then the Fremont County Sheriff Office has a detention deputy that closes November 27th, 2025. And finally, our Public Health Department has 2 positions open, a tobacco prevention coordinator and a prevention program coordinator, which both close November 26, 2025. For more information about employment opportunities with Fremont County, please visit our county website at fremontcountyco.gov or call the HR department at 719-276-7409. With that being stated, I don't know if you remember the last time I was up here, but we had no open positions. So I think I got the most that we've had for a while and the least that we've had for a while.
You're paying for the last time
I
you were
am
up here.
paying for it,
It all
yes.
equals out, yes.
So, next, I just wanted to let everybody know our Department of Transportation has completed repairs to Bridge 17-230 in Phantom Canyon, and the road was reopened to the public last Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, which was sooner than planned. Obviously, a lot of hard work happened out there to make that happen. We do appreciate everybody's patience and cooperation while the crews completed the decking repairs to this bridge. With that said, we still need to redeck Bridge 17-225, and these repairs are planned for the 2026 budget or year. Next, kind of what's going on, Fremont County Airport. So the taxiways A2, A3, A5, and A6 rehabilitation project is almost complete. A 3-inch asphalt milling and pavement overlay took place November 11th through the 14th. Installation of the reflective markers and hydro seeding is being taken place this week. The project cost approximately $900,000 and was funded 95% by the FAA grants, 2.5% by CDOT matching grant, and then a 2.5% local match. The taxiway 3A was constructed in 1991, and taxiways A2, A5, and A6 were all constructed in 1995. This is the first major rehab project the taxiways have received since they were constructed. And I did include a couple pictures for everybody's kind of a before and after here. So this is the taxiway, kind of a before picture for everybody to see. And then the second picture kind of shows all the quality work that was done during that time. So really looks pretty sharp and nearing completion. So
Looks good.
does look good. Yep.
I had the opportunity to go out, I think the final day they were doing the work, and it was impressive. They had more trucks running with asphalt and just, I mean, it's like circling almost. There were probably 20 of them lined up, ready to roll, and they were just going back to the plant and bringing more and more. And they still had a lot to do, and Wes Brandt, our airport manager, made the comment that, no, they'll be finished tonight. And I was like, yeah? He goes, they actually will. He said they've got the lights, they're going to stay. It has to get open tomorrow. So he said they'll be here as long as they need to be. It was really impressive. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, good job to everyone who was involved in that project.
And relatively a short time frame. I know that
Very quick turnaround.
people flying in and out probably really wanted that airport back open.
And
so.
even while I was there, the phone kept ringing. Are you open yet? When are you going to open again? I need to come. And so, yeah, a lot of people use our airport. It's great.
Perfect.
If it's not part of your regular stops yourself, you know, a lot of us just simply drive by the airport, but it is a very busy place.
Yeah.
And you close down one of those taxiways or runways, and we feel it.
People notice. Yep.
So it has to be done quickly, but that looks 1,000% better, so.
Yeah. Really good job. Yeah.
Okay.
And then finally, just wanted to give a shout out for the administration building and the Christmas holiday decoration. So recently, our facility staff decorated the administration building for Christmas, and it truly looks beautiful. I would like to thank Randy Toller and Evelyn Campbell for the coordination they put forth with their staff to make the building feel like Christmas. I would like to encourage all Fremont County residents to stop by the administration building and enjoy the decorations, which will be up through the end of the year.
Okay.
Even though it happened before Thanksgiving, I know we all might feel a little bit, maybe pushed a little bit, but let's enjoy Thanksgiving, then we'll move right on into Christmas.
I think this, the early push was just so that Mr. Sutton could have his, the Christmas tree behind him on the screen, you know, for the recording. There we go.
There it is. Yep.
It looks good. Our staff does a fantastic job on these decorations, and I spend 11 months just in not positive anticipation of having to put up all my stuff at the house, and then I see what they do here and I'm put to shame. It's pretty amazing what they're able to do with the decorations, and so thank you to them. Anything else for Mr. Sutton? Okay. Moving on to elected officials, if we have any. Do you want to start, sir? Okay, Mr. Clerk.
I would, thank you, Mr. Chair. For those of you ready, it's the end of election. I was able to certify our election results last week after the statewide risk limiting audit. As always, we pass with flying colors here in our county. And so we had about 14.5 thousand people show out. It's about a 44% turnout in our county. 98% of that was returned their mail envelope, whether through Dropbox or through the mail or in my office itself. So 2%, around 241 people voted in person, just so people have those, those numbers there. But know that, as always, elections are not over. And the next one starts pretty much in January for us, but it's a caucus year. For those of you who don't know, the major parties, minor parties, actually we do a grassroots caucus system where you participate in your caucus and county and state assemblies to determine who goes on the ballot for June or for November. So if you're wanting to participate in that stuff, the civic stuff that we do here in our state, please contact your political party. Also, the only reason the true reason I mention that is because I love election judges, and election judges have to be nominated by the party, and you sign up at caucus. And so it is a paid position. You do have to have 2 weeks of your time spent with my office, which we greatly appreciate all judges that come and work with us. But you sign up with at your caucus, and it gets approved through your county assembly, and then we can use that list for 2 years. So just know that if you're wanting to be an election judge, please, or you want to know more about that, please come to my office or contact me. My email is justin.grantham@fremontcountyco.gov. And ask questions, and I'll answer them. But absolutely, the more judges, the merrier, because we have a big election coming up next year, and we can use that same list for 2027. So.
Okay. Part I heard was the election was done.
Elections are never done,
But
but
the
this
work is
one
not
is
over.
The
done.
next one starts.
Yes, pretty much.
The work is not over.
All right. No, I just tag on to that, an appreciation for all of our election judges and all the work they do. Every election season, whether it's a primary, whether it's a general, whether it's an odd year, even year, we see a lot of the same faces, new ones here and there, but they do a lot of work over the course of a few weeks, and their help is greatly appreciated, and they take their job seriously. This is serious business when we talk about elections, so. Okay, any questions, comments for the clerk?
Good job.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So just a couple of quick things. One, our noxious weed board, which is one of our volunteer boards, we actually have probably a couple of openings on there, and as well as openings on maybe some other boards. So if anybody's interested in serving on a board, Fremont County, you can go to fremontcountyco.gov and find the opportunities to volunteer, and you can actually fill out the deal right there and put your interest letter in. But in the noxious weed board, Mr. Paul Telk, who has served for a long time on the weed board, he's decided he didn't want to re-up his volunteership on there. He's hard to get around a little bit, but they made him a life member of the weed board at the last meeting last week. So that's really cool. We have one other life member, which is Roy Roper. Unfortunately, as they come off of that list. Mr. Chess was on there just till recently when he passed. So congratulations to Paul for being on there for life member, and thanking him for his work on the noxious weed board. Very knowledgeable. He's one of our master gardeners in the county. Very good guy to talk to, and man, he can tell you stories. He's one that also had his hand, if anybody remembers the 100-year apple, and I can't remember the name of the apple, that was in this valley when this was a huge tree farm country. He did a lot of tree grafting. He had a place north of Canyon City. Now he lives in town, I believe, but where he did a lot of grafts of those trees to maintain that historic apple, the orange something apple. I wish I could remember the name of it.
I'm sitting here in the same.
But anyway.
Something heritage, I think.
Something, yeah. And we do have a couple of those trees left in Fremont County. There's some over on the east side of the town, and still some north. So it's pretty cool. But congratulations to Paul Telk for that anyway, for becoming a life member of the weed board, and I think when he can, he'll still come and help with his opinion and his knowledge, so appreciate him a lot. And of course, I can't go without saying it is very dry out there. I was in the mountains most of last week hunting, and it is very dry. The fields are tall, lots of good grass, and they are dry. So be very careful when you're out there, be diligent, don't start any fires. And last of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a safe, happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things I would like to discuss this morning. First, I want to tag along with Sean on Christmas decorations here in this building. I had the opportunity to come into the office on Friday. Typically, you know, we're not here on Fridays. But I walked in and Christmas music was blaring and there were boxes and things. And I could hear coming from downstairs, our crew, I think, was down in our lunchroom eating lunch at that time, and I could hear just people talking and laughing, and it just was a really cool place to be here last Friday while they were decorating. But I know how many hours it takes our staff to do this. I know how tired they all were when they came in on Monday morning. And so I just want to say truly thank you to each and every one of them for all of the hard work, because it is beautiful here. And like Sean said, I really do hope that everyone comes and takes advantage of the Christmas spirit in this building. Next, I wanted to remind everyone that the Florence's Christmas parade is this Saturday, 11 a.m. I'm not sure Florence has ever done a Christmas parade before. If so, it has been many, many years. And so this is something new to the community. We will be participating. Hope to see all of you there. And follow that up with the Canyon City Christmas Parade, which is the following Saturday, I believe, on December 5th, starting at 6 p.m. downtown. So a lot of things going on. Also, and finally, but for me maybe the most important, I had the opportunity last week to attend a National Association of Counties Rural Action Caucus fly-in in Washington, D.C. And so there was a small group this year. There were only about 30 of us who showed up, but boy, we were mighty, we were strong. We had a voice, and we let Congress know that we were here. And so really what we did was we met for half of a day to discuss the things that are important in all of rural America. Some of the challenges that we all face, I'd just like to kind of share these with you a little bit. Poverty, because the rural poverty rate is 2.5 times percentage points higher than the national average is. We have disadvantaged communities. 1 in 5 rural census tracts are considered disadvantaged. We have fragmentation because we are able to participate in more than 400 federal programs, but those are spread across 13 departments, 10 independent agencies, more than 50 sub-agencies. Those all touch rural federal policy without a coordinated framework. So there's no single place to go to for help. You have to kind of contact them all. We have a lot of barriers to access with burdensome applications, reporting requirements, and heavy reliance on loans over grants. We have some heavy match restrictions that with smaller budgets can be very difficult to deal with. A capacity gap. We have fewer programs to fund local staff or planning capacity. We also have a lot of inconsistent definitions. So it depends on who you're talking to what the form of rural actually means. So our priorities then become to fund USDA rural development programs, to simplify access to resources for rural counties, to invest in rural capacity building, to strengthen USDA rural development's field-based delivery model, and to strengthen the USDA rural development's field-based delivery model. And so those are the things then, we took those things, we divided up into 5 different groups. We went up to the Hill and we spent the rest of the day meeting with senators, with congresspeople, with their staffs, talking to them about what works in rural Colorado, but more importantly, what doesn't work in rural Colorado. And so they actually heard from us. They heard it from the people that it affects. We were there to speak up for people who live in rural, remote areas just like Fremont, Colorado. And I think it was a really important place to be. I think we had great conversations, great discussions, and we can't wait to do it again because we felt very, very heard while we were there. And that's not always the case in Washington, D.C., as you may know. So it was a great opportunity to be there. And yeah, I thought I'd kind of report out a little bit. That's what we did.
Excellent.
Yes, it's great.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
And just follow up on that, kudos to both of my colleagues for all of their involvement, especially on the national level. I know occasionally Commissioner McFall also has to go out on the pilt fly-ins and other things in DC and other places, advocating for Fremont County and for essentially the West. He is also president of
I'm first
WIR.
vice president
First
right now,
vice
I'll be
president.
president in May, yeah.
In May, he'll become president of WIR, the Western Interstate Region, which is a kind of a subset of NACO, National Association of Counties, and Commissioner Bell's involvement for years and years and years, and especially with Rural Action Caucus. So thank you both for
Thank you.
advocating for Fremont County.
Thank you.
Mine is relatively short. We have some good news to give to folks here in Fremont County. In Colorado, we have what is called the Underfunded Courthouse Grant Commission. And Commissioner McFall sits on that commission. We have the opportunity to use those grant monies and apply for those grant monies that are appropriated by the state into that committee or into that commission's fund, where they take applications, they grant it out. This was put into place probably 15 years ago or so, in order to help a lot of these older courthouses, because counties, it's difficult to come up with money to, especially when you're talking about some of the courthouses that are 130, 140 years old or older, and trying to bring them up to specs, trying to make them nice and usable as things deteriorate. And ours is not that old, it's 27, 28 years old, but guess what? Things wear out and we have to get things done. Well, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been very fortunate to have had good applications and good necessity for receiving some of those grant funds, and we've been successful on one, getting the Sally Port built on the southwest corner of the judicial building out here on the east side of town. That helps with security, because before that was built, it was just a staircase down and straight outside, and if somebody got loose in the courthouse, they could be gone for an hour before somebody would know. And we put a Sally Port on that exit to make it a double door system where somebody would have to be buzzed out of the second door. That is a good security measure for us. We also got some controllers for our HVAC system out there. But this year, because of the state finances, there was not that much that was appropriated to that commission's grant fund. I think $3 million?
Yes.
$3 million total, which may seem like a lot, but when you spread it across 64 counties and all the judicial buildings across the state, it's not that much. And there were almost $7 million in requests, I think, if I remember right.
6.5, yep.
Okay, $6.5 million in requests, so do the math. We had a request because one of our HVAC units on the roof, I think we have 5 total units on the roof, and they were all original with the building, which means they're close to 30 years old and they're starting to age out, and one of them did. And the parts that we need to repair it are not available, not readily available. And when it's in the middle of summer or middle of winter, you don't need your HVAC system inoperable. And if one of them goes out, then any of them can go out. And so we were at that point, and we asked for a 50% match on replacing all 5 of them. That was a total of $695,000 for a $1.3 million project. When you only have $3 million in grants and $6.5 million in requests, we weren't real optimistic. I wasn't real optimistic on getting that, and we were going to have to find a way to do it regardless. Myself and Randy Toller, our facilities director, went up and made our presentation for the grant. Just so you know, Commissioner McFall sits on the commission, but he can't sit in on our presentation for our county or vote on that.
Correct.
But be that as it may, the commission granted our full request for the $695,000, and then we will do the 50% match. So we were very, I was very elated over that because we get to replace all 5 of the units out there at once. And in that case, we won't have to worry so much about a total meltdown of all the systems. I told the commission during our hearing, me and Mr. Toller, that we had a very similar situation at our church right here in town where one HVAC decided to go out, and we thought, okay, we could replace that, and that's like $30,000 for that. And then a month later, a second one went out. A month later, the third one went out. And we are fortunate that we got this help where we're able to do this for our judicial building, and hopefully that'll avert any crises that we might have in the middle of summer or the middle of winter coming up. So thank you to the commission, and
Let me say something on that right quick.
Please.
Thank you to you and Randy Toller for going up and presenting that. As you said, I couldn't sit in on that. I got to sit out in the hallway and wonder what they're talking about and if we're going to get the money or not. But also thanks to Rachel, she's our grant writer. She wrote the grant in conjunction with Randy because of the needs that we had out there. But between the way she wrote the grant and your guys' presentation, yeah, I think we were pretty lucky to get that. I was excited when I finally did see the number up there on the board that we were going through. Thought, yes. But so it's a good thing. But thank you for showing up to do that. That's what sells it to that commission. So thank you.
Well done, yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that so much.
we're all very fortunate, and the community is very fortunate for that grant reward. So, that being said, just a reminder, actually what I have left to say I'll talk about during one of the new business items. So, let's move on to the next item in our agenda. Item number 2 is citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on the agenda. We have one person signed up. I've never heard of this individual.
Let me know if you need help with the pronunciation.
Super. Sir,
Let's go with
please.
that.
Can you hit that
Good
button
morning.
on there?
Hit that front button there, Ty. Thanks.
There you go.
There it
Good
is.
morning, Ty.
Good morning. Good work, guys. I mean, that's impressive being under budget on everything, so that's good. In this day and age, that's a win for sure. So, good morning, members of the board. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all
Sure.
your work. I know all of you, I haven't got a chance to meet Sean, but other than that, I've known all of you for a long time, and I appreciate all your hard work, so thank you for that. I'm nearly a lifelong resident here in Fremont County. I went to kindergarten here, graduated Canyon City High School. A few Tigers. How many Tigers we got? Us three?
We got Huskies in the room as well.
That
so-
doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
That's not what he asked.
Anyway, yeah. For over 20 years, my mission has been to be the highlight of people's vacation here in Canyon City when they come to visit us here in Fremont County. Today, I'm concerned what's going on up on the top 8 Mile Hill. Started with Buckskin Joe, started with the Scenic Railway. I don't know if any of you remember the Bavarian Inn that used to be up there, the Two Sisters restaurants. I mean, everything's gone broke. The feed store went broke. The market's now broke. We've all, I don't know if any of you had a chance to have a cheeseburger at the Thunderbird years and years ago, but that was pretty fun, you know. So it used to be lively up there. Still lively, you know, the Whitewater Barn Grill, we're still cranking it. 8 Mile across the next door is still doing good, but there's a lot of concern moving forward up there. And now the Dinosaur Depot. So there's real concern of stagnation and just, I'd like to be here to be part of the solution. I think I have a good project. I bought Buckskin Joe property, 805 acres over 6 years ago, and been working on a plan to move forward to get a subdivision up there. It's a unique subdivision, and it's going to be pretty cool in my view. My original plan was to have 339 1-acre lots with all tiny homes. People could buy a 1-acre lot for $100,000, get a tiny home for $100,000, and then the middle class could afford a vacation home for 200 grand. That was kind of my vision attached to trails. That didn't work. That really can't work because of, it can now because you allow tiny homes. 6 years ago, we didn't as a state. So anyway, that will still be an option. So I'm presenting a new vision for the Royal Gorge Ranch and Resort. It's a 772-acre gated community designed from the ground up to be eco-friendly and sustainable. Our goal is to become Colorado's first net zero adventure community. Basically, every home will give more back to the grid than they use. That's the goal for all 152 lots. Enough solar panels. No wind stuff, just all solar. And with the new Tesla solar panels, it's achievable. All of our homes are going to be small, eco-friendly homes. Under 1,300 square feet is the design and the vision for the whole property. They'll all be black metal, so they all melt into the landscape. No different colors, just all black, what I call sexy looking, good looking buildings. Sorry. My vision extends beyond the property lines. This is a partnership offer with Fremont County centered on 2 pillars. First, some permanent preservation. My goal is to place 217 acres, over 28% of the property, under a permanent conservation easement with the Palmer Land Conservancy District. It's one of Colorado's most respected land trusts. So they do a really good job, and what they do is they actually monitor your open space and they keep it for real. So 28% could be legally binding guarantee that this iconic landscape will never be developed. This protected area will forever include parts of the Point Alta Vista Trail. I'm hopeful you've all been out to Point Alta Vista.
Oh, yeah.
Done that little hike out there?
Yep.
Have you been out there? It's pretty special. Really, really. It's iconic. And I'm not bragging or anything, but if I wouldn't have donated all the land in the parking lot, Point Alta Vista wouldn't be there anymore. It would just be, it'd be sitting there rotting. There's no other way to get to it if you don't go the mile through my property. So that was, I gave that to the city 6 years ago. We have a real good agreement, real good easement with the city, and that's how it is. Obviously, the city owns the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park. It's a 5,000-acre park that borders the back of this property. So this 800 acres feels wide open because there's 5,000 acres of basically open space behind it. So if we put 217 acres, over 28% of the property, on a permanent conservation easement, that would be pretty special. I just donated all the time and resources to build a 6-mile loop for the high school mountain biking community. So we just had a really cool race out there. It was real successful. Almost, wasn't 1,000, but like close to 900 mountain bikers from across the state came and raced.
That was the high school race, correct?
All the high school, yeah.
I've heard really great things
Yeah,
about
it
that,
was
so
really
good job.
cool.
Yeah, that's
It was
excellent.
really cool. All the, praise goes to Sherry and Carrie for all their work, so they did a great job. So I'd like to do some direct community investment. Obviously, if we were able to put it into a land trust through the Palmer Land Trust, there's tax incentives and things like that, so we could get some funds to start to do it. It's not cheap, it costs $100,000 just to basically get something into a land trust like that. But I would like to commit, directly invest in the facilities that make our county great. I'm pledging a $100,000 donation to Canyon City swimming pool operations because our community needs a pool, and we deserve it. We all swam at the Ichabod pool, and it's the same pool that sits there today, and I'm glad you guys are being, resourceful and planning and budgeting for things like this, and we should have done that years ago when we had the pool, but we didn't. But that's a whole nother story. So I also want to donate a 3-acre lot valued at $200,000 to the Fremont Adventure Recreation, to FAR, so they have a home base. Right now, I currently let them use Gunslingers or Clubhouse, or let them use one of my homes every year so they can have their meetings and things like that. But I think it'd be really cool if they had a base location right at the trailhead. I don't know if you guys have been on the trails, but all the trails that go through the Royal Gorge region, even the Point Alta Vista Trail and the one-track mine, all have to come onto my property at some point because it's so rocky and so many cliffs and everything. So we just allow the trail to come in and into our property and still get out to all the different areas. But anyway, I'd love to donate them a place for them to call home. So this commitment allows the Road Ridge Ranch to be a true model for the future. It's a community of small, under 300 square foot energy efficient homes to protect the vital open space forever. In addition to that, each lot owner will only be able to develop 1 acre of their property. So our last proposal had it be completely like that, but with the land trust controlling the open space, this way it'll be just an HOA requirement that if you have a 3 acre lot, you can develop any acre of that lot you choose. You can't, throw your stuff all over the 3 acres. We want to keep it tight little cluster of homes to where the open space feels real. So essentially, there's going to be 80% open space. There's only going to be 152 acres out of the 772 that actually get a home or some kind of structure on it, and all the homes are small, under 1,300 square feet. The Road Ridge Ranch Resort will create jobs and generate significant tax revenue without burdening our schools or county infrastructure. All the roads are private. It's a gated community, except for the trails where people can come in and use all the trail system. With the Palmer Land Conservancy easement, we're offering a level of permanent, third-party verified preservation that exceeds what many conventional projects ever achieve. So my specific ask and path forward is a large portion of this property was historically zoned for economic development. Obviously, Buckskin Joe, I hope most of you were able to go to Buckskin Joe at some point at Scenic Railway. Literally hundreds of thousands of people have been to Buckskin Joe. It was a retail area. So it's not like it's farmland. It was never developed to be farmland. And your current 75% open space PUD requirement for this specific section of your map in your county is unrealistic. It basically, while intentional for farmland, has made our rugged, unique mountainous property functionally undevelopable. If we were to require 75% of 800 acres to be open space, meaning I could only develop 150 some acres, that's it. So
Hey,
that's
Ty,
it.
if I could interrupt real quick?
Please.
Just to make sure that we don't stray too far into certain areas, because
Yes.
we are limited. We can't dialogue on this
Okay.
because you do have an open application. I just want that to be plain for everybody listening.
Gotcha.
And for everybody in the room, that we won't be able to dialogue on this. So I don't want to go too far into some of these particulars
Okay, into the
of what
details.
you're dealing with on your application. Okay?
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
thank
Fair
you.
enough.
Which I would add, we will have a public hearing
Yes.
eventually, and that will be the time and space for anyone who has particular comments or opinions can come and speak to us at that time.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw a
No,
stick
no,
in front
I
of the
appreciate
skateboard,
that.
but
I appreciate that. We've been trying to turn in paperwork for over 6 years, and we've never gotten to that point. I've never gotten to the planning commission. I've never gotten to you. So I wanted to just prematurely fill you all in on, okay, here's our plan. Here's what this is going to look like. So it just doesn't hit you like a, shovel in the back of the head. So anyway, I'm not asking to bypass any of the rules. We're just asking for a partnership for a tool that fits this terrain. We're specifically requesting that support to utilize the Mountain PUD District standards, which is more achievable of 25% open space. They're designed exactly for this type of land. The binding commitment to the Palmer Land Conservancy easement proves that we are serious about preservation, and now we need your leadership to help navigate a viable regulatory path. I have invested over 21 years here in Fremont County since I moved back into town, and I love it here. We all believe in Fremont County. I believe this new proposal with its permanent conservation easement and direct community benefits represents a legacy project. I ask for your support to direct the planning department to work with us to make the vision of a reality under the Mountain PUD framework in partnership with the Palmer Land Trust. The Palmer Land Trust can only work if it is not a requirement that we have such percentage of open space. So what I'm getting at is the only way I can give stuff, back to the pool and other stuff is if we can somehow work through, it's the same 217 acres of open space. It's whether it's regulated by us as an HOA or the Palmer Land District, who is a real company that does this for a living. That's what they do, is they hold open space. I have a couple maps for you can show up. Obviously, all the diagonal lines is the open space that's mixed and matched all throughout the property. I can do some of these if I'm allowed to. If not, no worries. I'll be brief here and get, hopefully with your direction, we create a project that everyone can be proud of, one that brings new life and revenue while permanently protecting our natural heritage. Let's work together to build a more vibrant and prosperous Fremont County. We have the fire protection worked out. We have an unbelievable water plan with the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District. We have our septic systems figured out with the new sand infiltrator systems. Our roads are all signed off on by the fire department and been all regulated. The power's out there through Black Hills in good shape. And our fire cisterns, there's 4 of them on site that can be used for any fire in the region. There's 4 of them that are 33,000 gallons that are already filled and ready for the fire department. They've not had to use them, thank God, but they're all there too. So I don't know if you're allowed to ask questions or if you need
I
me
think
for
it's
anything.
safer for you if we don't.
Okay, perfect. Well,
You know what I
thank you for your
mean?
time.
But I will, off of that topic, I would probably ask you a question because we did have this discussion a little bit earlier on the tax revenues and things like that, the lodging tax. You know, our lodging tax is way up for this tourist season. I know that isn't mirrored in your industry, in the restaurant industry, and in some of the other tourist-driven industries.
That's a fact. I'm curious on your thing too, Sean. You had July being the lowest month. That's our busiest month, so I don't know if it's when the revenue's collected in there or what that is.
That's the
but-
nuance of how lodging tax is
Okay.
collected and then returned to us. The September number is
massive,
the
right.
big one that includes all the summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But we don't receive it till November.
I gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's an odd
Okay, that's
duck.
that's why September.
Right.
Obviously, our September was strong, and we're lucky that was great. But unfortunately, with the rafting community, we're on a 4-year slide. As an industry, we'll probably have the worst year rafting in the past 3 decades here in Fremont County. So it's a real number and it's a real concern. Restaurants across the nation and here in town it's not pretty. We're lucky we're fighting through it, and we've been there 21 years. So we have a little monster created up there at the Whitewater, and we stay busy. So
Well, I appreciate that because Ty and I sit on the Gold Belt Scenic Byway, and we had this brief conversation the other day.
yeah.
And just so folks know, when we see good numbers on the lodging tax, we used to be able to count on that being reflective of the entire industry.
Yeah.
And everybody's having a good year if there's heads in beds. That's not what happened this year. And it's really not what happened the last couple or 3 years.
Exactly, and it's not just our county. We have a problem here, but Colorado does as well. We're not spending enough money advertising as a state, so they're just not in the budget. You know what I mean? It's not in your budget probably as well to increase advertising, but
Right.
that's how you get more people here.
Well, and I think it's talking to somebody else in that industry too. People used to come and they would ride the train, they would raft, and then they would go do something else. Now they come and do one and they're gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In
so
and
it's-
out.
Yeah.
Yep. it's-
Or the high lodging tax, the higher occupancy in the hotels and motels here in town is also indicative of we're the in-between point between their destinations.
Yeah.
And they're not
That's good,
staying
though.
for
Yeah.
stuff here.
Yeah, we used to see probably 80-90% of our customers just literally drive in for the day. They drive from Colorado Springs,
Yeah.
bam, go rafting, get some lunch and be gone, So I'm hopeful that we can get more and more people here. Talked about this before, but Fremont County doesn't have a second home ownership thing. I don't know anybody here that has a second home here in Canyon City. You go up to Salida, I think I don't even know, I had the stats, but it's a humongous percentage of people that own a second home, just, literally 50 miles from Buckskin Joe. So,
All right.
but this will be a good way to get, hopefully 150 people that live here either full-time or part-time, but continue to come and bring their grandkids and fun stuff. So,
Okay.
but thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Like I said,
Ty.
Good work on everything. I appreciate it. And
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, Ty.
Thank you, sir.
would you like me to leave a couple maps just for?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably not. Under the circumstances.
No worries.
Moving on. No old business, so on to new business. The first couple of items, we have with us Michelle Boscia from our Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment. The first item has to do with our impaired driving gallery data walk, key findings and recommendations. And there's been a lot of work put into this. If you're in the room here, you probably saw a lot of the displays as you came down to the bottom of the stairs. And there's a lot of information that Michelle is going to share with us. So please proceed.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Michelle Boscia. I'm from Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment. I work on the Impaired Driving Awareness Grant. And today I'm going to talk to you about my data walk that I presented last year and the findings. Next slide, please. So the agenda is introductions, our public health perspectives, understanding impaired driving in Fremont County, our community engagement, which is the data walk, the action plan, what we need to do moving forward, and our closing and call to action. Next slide. So this grant is funded by the Colorado Persistent Drunk Driving Cash Fund, PDD for short. The PDD cash fund is comprised of fines paid by people convicted of impaired driving. The funds are overseen by the PDD committee at CDPHE. And we also get a percentage from the minor possession funds, which is also funded via these funds and overseen by CDPHE. So public health subject matter expertise, we can do community outreach and engagement, such as data walks, social norming campaigns, and collaboration and partnerships with this funding. Next slide. So what is public health? When people hear public health, the term, they often think about hospitals or clinics, but public health is really about prevention and community well-being. Our role is to improve and protect population health by reducing risks and increasing public health factors and protective factors. That means working together, addressing social factors that influence health, and using data to guide our actions. Public health is also about collaboration and continuous improvement, learning what works and adapting when things change. We also have the evaluator's perspective. So each grant has an evaluator that's separate from the county and from CDPHE, and they evaluate the effectiveness of what we're doing and help us change our priorities. Next slide. So one of the first perspectives is called the Strategic Prevention Framework. One of the frameworks we use in prevention work is called the Strategic Prevention Framework, or SPF for short. It's a step-by-step approach that helps us make sure our strategies are thoughtful and effective. We start by assessing the issue, then building the capacity we need to address it, followed by planning, implementation, and evaluation. It's flexible, data-driven, and helps us stay organized and accountable as we create measurable change. Next slide. The next one is the social ecological model. This is another tool we use. This model reminds us that health and behavior are influenced by more than just individual choices. They are layers from personal beliefs to relationships, community environments, and larger systems and policies. To really make an impact on impaired driving, we need to address all of these levels together, helping individuals make safer choices while also shaping community norms and supportive policies. Next slide. The trans-theoretical model. Another model that guides prevention work is called the trans-theoretical model, or the stages of change model. It uses both words or both names. It helps us understand how people move through change, starting from not recognizing they have a problem, to thinking about it, preparing, taking action, maintaining that change. Not everyone is in the same place at the same time, so this model helps tailor our approach to remind us that change is a process, not a one-time event. Next slide. This one is really important for public health. It's the positive youth development. When we talk about prevention, it's impossible not to focus on our youth. They're a huge core of our work. Positive youth development, or PYD, is about helping young people build the skills and connections they need to thrive. It's a strengths-based approach that focuses on confidence, character, connection, and caring. And instead of focusing only on risks, we work to create opportunities for youth to make positive choices and become leaders in prevention. Next slide. So prevention has 3 different sections. We have downstream, midstream, and upstream. In public health, we often talk about prevention happening at these 3 levels, the upstream, midstream, and downstream. Upstream means stopping problems before they start, like policy change or education. So we put a fence around the river so people can't fall in. Midstream focuses on early intervention, catching issues before they get worse. So having life jackets or lifeguards by the river. And downstream means responding after harm has occurred, like treatment or rehabilitation. To prevent impaired driving, we need to work at all 3 levels and partner with law enforcement, schools, and the community. Next slide. So what is a data walk? Most people, when they hear data walk, they're like, oh, you're gonna go for a walk and collect data. That's not it. A data walk is a hands-on, interactive way for the community to engage, explore data, and share their own experiences. And instead of just presenting our numbers, we display data visually, invite people to react, and collect their insights. It's about listening and learning from residents, the people who live that data every day. The goal is to gather honest feedback, identify priorities, and ensure our strengths reflect what matters most in our community. So we present data and we gather data at the same time. Next slide. So this is a picture from my data walk that I did in December of 2024. We have my team. The 3 are my prevention teams, and we have a law enforcement and me. So the purpose of our Fremont County Data Walk was to raise awareness about impaired driving, start meaningful conversations, and empower residents to be part of the solution. We wanted people to not only see the data, but to connect with it, to understand what's really happening in their neighborhoods and what can be done to change it. We feel like we need your voice to help us guide our work. Next slide. So understanding impaired driving in Fremont County. Let's talk about the data. In 2023, which is the most recent data I had at the time, Fremont County had 9 motor vehicle deaths, and 4 of them, so nearly 44%, involved an impaired driver. That's higher than both the state and the national averages, which are around 30%. Behind every percent is a real person and a family affected, which is why this work is so important. And we don't just affect a family, we're such a small community, 1 death affects a ton of people in our community. Next slide. How we gathered our insights. So throughout the data walk, I have activities. We have a traffic light activity, a bean voting, a brainstorming wall, story sharing, timeline of influence, and a cause and effect web. Next slide. So community preparedness of safe rides. One of the questions we asked participants was whether they had a safe plan ride home. Most, about 86%, said yes, but around 14% either didn't have a plan or weren't sure. There's an opportunity to grow. So this was the traffic light opportunity. We have traffic lights out there where people can fill in the green if they have a plan. They have a safe ride home. They are the safe ride home. They're gonna walk, whatever their plan is. Yellow was unsure, and then red was they didn't have a plan at all. Like they're gonna go to the bar, they're gonna drink, they don't have a plan to go home. So that was really helpful to decide. I think we had, I can't remember how many people participated, but that 14% is the ones that we really need to concentrate on to try to change their thinking. Next slide. So community priorities for reducing impaired driving. This is the bean counting. These 6 strategies actually came from my focus groups in year 1. And then I had people that came to the data walk vote on what they thought their highest ones were. They could vote for 3 different ones. So the strategies were changing parking regulations, transportation solutions, incentives to not drive impaired, awareness strategies, law enforcement deterrence, and develop a community action board. Our highest one was change parking regulations. Transportation solutions were the next, and then incentive to not drive impaired, awareness strategy, law enforcement deterrence, and then develop a community action board in those order. So next slide. So parking regulations came up a lot through the data walk. So people told us they avoid leaving their cars downtown after driving because of the risk of being ticketed or towed. Simple policy changes like allowing overnight parking in designated areas can make it easier for people to make safe choices and not risk driving impaired. It's a small change with potential big impact. Some of the quotes that came about were allow overnight parking, change parking regulations downtown. Those ones came up the most throughout the data walk. Next slide. Transportation alternatives. Another big theme was transportation access. Participants suggested things like taxi vouchers funded by DUI fees, community ride-share programs, and carpooling options. In rural areas like ours, people often don't have reliable late-night transportation, which makes it harder to make safe choices. Expanding affordable transportation options could go a long way towards reducing impaired driving. And those are some of the quotes that came about. We need a transportation system, DUI vouchers. So that's another thing I'm trying to focus on. Next slide. Youth education and norm change. Several participants emphasized the importance of starting early, teaching young people about the risks of impaired driving and normalizing sobriety as a positivity and a healthy choice. When we reach youth early with age-appropriate, evidence-based education, we can shift community norms and create a long-term change. It's about building a culture where choosing not to drive impaired is seen as a smart thing and not boring. They talked about Alive at 25 and some other evidence-based programs and conversations. So next slide. Individual risk factors and support. Participants also talked about deeper issues that can lead to impaired driving, things like stress, trauma, addiction, and lack of social support. One person asked, why do people drink? What's the pain or emptiness they're feeling? That question really captures what prevention is about. We need to make sure people have access to mental health care, treatment, and recovery support because prevention means caring for the whole person. And those are some of the quotes that came about from activities. So discuss why people drink and then personal circumstances. Next slide. This is one of our favorite things to do. We did the real impact, share your personal stories. We found that the most powerful part of a data walk are personal stories. If we can pair the personal stories with data, it makes a bigger impact than just showing data. So they shared their experiences of losing loved ones to impaired driving or growing up with family members who struggled with alcohol use. Those stories remind us that they're not just statistics, they're real lives. These are people we're talking about. Behind every statistic is a person. So some of the quotes are, my father was arrested for DUI numerous times when I was a child. My older brother was involved in numerous DUI crashes. My husband is an alcoholic. He used to take my kids with him while I was at work and drive drunk with them. A friend of mine was killed in his senior year of high school for drunk driving. This impacted his family, friends, and others driving with him that were seriously injured. And then in high school, 3 friends had been drinking alcohol at a party. They left the party and drove impaired. They were in one car accident, essentially rolled the truck on a curve in the road. One person who was ejected from the truck was killed. He was 18. The driver, who was 17, was charged and convicted with involuntary manslaughter and imprisoned. This was 35 years ago, and the impact on this group of friends is still seen and felt today. Next slide. So moving forward, our high priorities are conduct a thorough review of existing data sources, which is an ongoing project. Engage existing community organizations, which I've been trying to do, and then develop target action plans. The medium priorities are establish a collaborative task force, sustain data collection and sources, and then facilitate target community dialogues. Next slide. To make sure this works lasts, we need ongoing engagement, strong policies, and diverse funding sources. Building partnerships, keeping communication open, and continue to collect and use data with help will help us adapt and sustain progress over time. Real change happens when the community stays involved and keeps the momentum going. This grant is on its third year of the grant cycle. It has 5 total, and we want to keep this work going past that 5 years. So we need continued community engagement, driver-driven decisions, policy advocacy, resources, capacity building, and partnership development. Next slide. So a community united for safe roads. Our vision is simple but powerful. A community where safe driving is the norm. When we come together, public health, law enforcement, schools, businesses, and residents, we can build a culture that values safety and responsibility. Every small step adds up to the lasting impact. Next slide. It's the last one. I want to thank you for your time and for having me. And then if you'd like to contact me or present to your businesses, that's my contact information.
Wow. That's a lot of stuff.
And
Thank
I
you,
did it
Michelle.
under your time limit, too.
You did a fantastic job. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Michelle on this report?
Just one comment. Thank you for the work you've done on this. I know I had Michelle come to our CDOT Transportation Planning Region meeting and present this as well. And I think it touches somebody in every audience that you talk to, probably because they've either been involved in that or been hit by a drunk driver or something, as your quotes up there said too. So, I mean, everybody knows somebody, you know, short degrees apart, I guess. But thanks for the work on that. I guess the thing about it is you can have policies and you can have talk and you can have, the action is what makes a difference. And that's the hard part of this whole deal is getting people to not drive drunk, whether it's just because they were at a party having fun. I mean, those kids obviously weren't old enough to drink and weren't having anything, mental health problems. They were having fun.
Yep.
Till they weren't.
Until they weren't.
Yeah. So it's out there. Everybody needs to be aware of it. And yeah, there's no true answer how to keep somebody from getting behind the wheel. But I think we all know better, and we may have all done it once. So keep up the good work, and keep that out in front of people. It's important.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. I think the one statement that really resonates with me is normalize being sober. Because it's glorified, right? It's glorified on TV, it's glorified in movies. It's expected of you when you're in high school and when you're a young college student. It really is expected of you. And so changing that norm and changing that paradigm, it's going to take a while and take a lot of hard work. I also just wanted to mention again the information that you have currently out in the hallway here that's going to, we think, be moving upstairs. So here in the Fremont County Administration Building, come in. If we're still downstairs, come down, take a look. I think it's going to be moving upstairs, though, so that as soon as you walk in the front door, you'll be able to stop and take a look and see some of this information for yourself. So,
And
thanks,
do the
Michelle.
bean count and vote, right? Do the bean vote.
There's a bean vote. There's fun activities. I try to make them different and unique, so.
There you go. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Michelle. I think at this time, we will move on to the proclamation for the Impaired Driving Awareness Month. Michelle, why don't you go ahead and read all 14 pages? No, just read this proclamation for us, please.
So Impaired Driving Awareness Month, December 2025. Whereas impaired driving, whether due to alcohol, over-the-counter, or prescription medications, illicit drugs, or any other substances, is a preventable public safety and public health crisis that exists a heavy toll of devastating and life-changing consequences for individuals, families, and communities across our country, and right here in Fremont County. And whereas the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA for short, reports that on average 34 people are killed every day in motor vehicle crashes involving an impaired driver in the United States. That's one person every 42 minutes. In 2023 alone, 12,429 people died in alcohol-impaired driving crashes, while thousands of others were injured in collisions involving drivers impaired by alcohol and other drugs. All these tragedies were preventable. And whereas impaired driving continues to claim lives in Colorado, where the Colorado Department of Transportation, CDOT, reports that in 2023, a total of 716 people died in traffic crashes statewide, and 218 of those deaths, or 30.4%, involved alcohol impairment. Moreover, the Colorado Bureau of Investigations reports that Colorado State Patrol and local law enforcement made 16,821 DUI arrests in 2023, highlighting that persistent need for education, enforcement, and prevention. And whereas the Fremont County is no exception to this trend, the Fremont County Coroner's Office reported that in 2023, there were 9 motor vehicle-related fatalities in our county, and that 4 of those deaths, or 44.4%, involved alcohol impairment. State court records show that local law enforcement made 1,579 arrests in 2023, 348 of which were DUIs, or 22% of the total. These sobering numbers highlight the urgent need for a concurrent local effort to develop a coordinate prevention approach. And whereas the Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment, FCDPHE, has a strong partnership with local law enforcement agencies and community partners and is diligently working to reduce the number of impaired driving crashes in Fremont County through public awareness efforts, prevention activities, and community outreach and education. And whereas no one agency or organization can stop impaired driving alone, and Fremont County is collaborating closely with local and statewide partners, including CDOT, El Paso County, the Pikes Peak DUI Task Force, and the soon-to-be launched Fremont County DUI Task Force to strengthen prevention efforts, save lives, and create a brighter and safer future for all of our residents. And whereas December is National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, a time when we honor and remember those we have lost to impaired driving, support survivors and their families, and renew our collective commitment to ending this preventable tragedy through increased awareness, individual action, and collaboration. Now, therefore, let it be pronounced or proclaimed by the County Commissioners of Fremont County that December 2025 is hereby designated as the Impaired Driving Awareness Month in Fremont County, Colorado. The Commissioners encourage all residents to make responsible choices, never drive under the influence, support preventive initiatives, and work together to keep our roads safe for everyone.
Nice job. Well done.
And that was all on one breath. Well done. Any questions or comments on this proclamation?
No questions. I just would say it really was a mouthful, but there is a lot of really important information there.
I think it was my first time writing one, so.
Yeah, there is a lot of information, and it's pretty impactful. You don't realize the numbers until you realize the numbers.
And I would add to this and to that, the proclamation and a lot of this awareness is centered around alcohol. And that's the largest share, obviously, of the impairments that we see, but there are other things that impair driving that can't be ignored either.
A lot of that comes with the data. We have more data for alcohol impaired driving than we do other drugs. We're working on that, but they say 5 years of data is like good data to go off of, so that will be something that will be increased.
That was one of those things up in Denver that we were trying to, when you're trying to create policy with zero data, because, you know, back in 2010 and 2009, 2010, when marijuana was first, you know, pretty much completely legalized here in Colorado, and trying to make policy based on nothing at the time. And even now, 15 years later, we're still fighting to get the kind of data we need to make good decisions on those sorts of things. So, but in the meantime, this is what we do know about alcohol impaired driving and the statistics. And so thank you for all your hard work. Appreciate that.
Thank you for all your support.
Please.
This is also a reminder that if you're leaving Uncle Bill and Aunt June's house after Thanksgiving and you've had a few too many drinks, don't drive, right?
Don't drive.
Or if they're leaving your house, don't let them drive. Anyway, with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve proclamation and proclaim that December 2025 is Impaired Driving Awareness Month in Fremont County.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Michelle.
Fantastic. Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Don't go too far. We're going to get a picture with you.
Oh. Disperse, gentlemen.
You're going to smile.
You need some help with that, sir?
We're missing our teeth. Just when you get
Where'd Sean go?
Okay. Next item on our agenda, item number 3, is a transfer of operator, CUP 16-001, Colorado Quarries, taking over the operation of the Iron Mountain Gravel Pit from 16001. With us today is a representative from Colorado Quarries, Jody Schreiber.
Good morning.
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 Thanks for being so patient.
Yes, no worries. It was great information, so good to sit and listen.
Please go ahead and just present what's happening.
All right, so this is just an application to transfer the permit. It's currently under Rocky Mountain Excavating, and Colorado Quarries is wanting to take it over. Working with the BLM right now, pretty closely on that transfer. In addition to the transfer, they're looking to increase it from the current 9.2 acres to the 46.89 acres. With BLM's approval. And so that's the stage we're at right now at the state and federal levels. Is we've got the transfer request over to DRMS, and we also have the transfer request to BLM, and then actively working with the BLM on the possible expansion. With the expansion, there will be 4 phases. The phases range in size from 8.4 acres to a current 14.5 acre phase, so they'll be very small phases. And just as a reminder, an expansion of acreage doesn't mean it's going to increase the output. Obviously, output is an economic factor and not a size. So just because it's expanding, it just gives it more longevity for the pit itself, but doesn't necessarily mean more trucks. The anticipated tons being produced out of this every year is going to be about 10,000. Which is roughly 358 semi-loads in a year, which equates to about 7 loads a week, maybe 1 a day. But obviously, some days are going to have more and some are going to have less. But kind of gives you just an idea of the size of the operation. So I do have some maps if you want to take a look at them of the site itself. I did bring a handful of those if you would like, and then I can answer any questions as well.
Yeah, sure. Bring those on up. And then, are there any questions for the applicant?
And mind you, that's strictly the proposal. Right now, we don't have any approvals from BLM, and then even once the BLM does approve it, the state's Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety have to approve it as well, too. So we're still just kind of in the planning stages of development.
I do have a question, Mr. Chair.
Please.
So I just want to make certain, I don't see it in a letter or anything written here from you, but I just want to make certain that you understand that the transfer of a conditional use permit also means the conditions transfer.
Correct.
And the promise from you and your company that those conditions will continue to be met if this transfer is approved.
Yes, that is understood by the operator.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just don't see it in writing anywhere here. I may be missing it somewhere, but I just don't see it.
Good clarification. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Victoria, staff report.
Hello, everyone. So here we have a transfer of operator for CUP 16001, the Iron Mountain Gravel Pit. Colorado Quarries Incorporated as a representative, Jody Schreiber. The purpose is for Colorado Quarries to take over the operations of the Iron Mountain Gravel Pit. CUP 16001, they assume all responsibility for the performance of all obligations, conditions, guarantees imposed upon them of the approved permit. At the original time of submission, there was no plans for change of any mining activity on site. So to be honest with you, I'm not sure of the boundary area of the original permit at this time. So if this proposal is an expansion, that would require a modification to the CUP. So this is kind of new information for me, but it doesn't really affect the transfer as long as they abide by the terms in the original permit. That's all stuff that we could work out later on once you guys get
Yep.
permission to operate.
You bet.
So background, originally this was CUP 05001, the Cooper Pit, operated by Shane Cooper, which was approved November 22nd of 2005. The Cooper Pit changed operators to Benny and Shawnee Cook on August 4th of 2016. At that time, the CUP was assigned a new number of 16001, the Iron Mountain Road Gravel Pit. Since that time, Benny and Shawnee have been the operators. This land is owned by the United States Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management. Based on everything that we have in conversations with Jody, they're willing to abide by the original permit. They now know the expectation that any change from there will require a modification that will go back through my office and to the appropriate boards. With this being said, staff does recommend approval of the transfer of operator to Colorado Quarries. And open for questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Mr. Victoria?
That was the only question I had, was if the boundary changes, it's got to come back, which everybody's aware of, so.
Yes.
That was my question as well, just a question of process.
Well, it wasn't
so.
my question. How about that?
Now, we answered it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, and once the operator gets approval by the landowner for the expansion, then obviously we'll come back to the county and do the modification at that point.
Okay. All right,
All right, I have a motion, Mr. Chair.
please.
I move to approve this transfer of operator for conditional use permit number 16-001 Colorado Quarries to take over operation of the Iron Mountain Gravel Pit.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good
Thank you
luck.
for your patience.
Yes, you.
That was the shortest item on the agenda so far. Next item on our agenda is the scheduling of a special Board of County Commissioners meeting for 9 a.m. Tuesday, December 16th. That is 3 weeks from hence, with the following agenda items. These will all be under new business. The first is a resolution summarizing the expenditures for each fund and adopting a budget for next calendar year. The second one is the resolution levying general property taxes for the year of 2025 for the 2026 budget year. And all of this, seriously, it really makes sense. Resolution appropriating sums of money to the various funds and spending agencies, again, for the 2026 budget year. And lastly, the certification of levies and revenue. These are all the necessary evils of what we do in government, in our budget process. All of these are necessary things that have to happen in that order. We define the expenditures, we levy the taxes to pay for those things, and then the appropriation of those monies. And that is the easy three-step process that is the summarizing of months of work by our finance officer, budget and finance officer, Sean Sutton, and all of our work with our other elected officials and department heads that culminates in this budget hearing.
Not a hearing.
Not a hearing.
Not a hearing. We had the hearing, thank you. This is the final act in these resolutions.
Yes.
Thank you. Any comments or questions or anything on this agenda item?
I would make one quick comment, Mr. Chair, and that is we set and schedule this same special meeting every single year. And we have to do it that way simply because of timeframes and because of the state ordered deadlines that we have to have things in by. It can't be before this date, but it has to be before this date. And typically, we don't have a regular board meeting that falls during that timeframe, so we schedule this every year. But we are looking at just adding this into our regularly scheduled meetings for next year, so we may not be having to set a special board meeting again.
But for this year,
But for this year, we're still doing it the right way.
we are, yes.
Okay.
I've got a motion for you if you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Well, give me a couple seconds. I got a couple things I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe he didn't want to.
For the millions of folks watching out there, and then I mentioned I was going to save my comments otherwise for this section of the meeting. When we talk about our budget and what we go through in order to get to this point of the year, every year, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. Obviously, a lot of the stuff that we do does happen in a public setting, even if not in a public hearing. It does happen in a public posted setting, in posted meetings. And so the public has the opportunity to avail themselves of participating in this process, of getting any of this information that we have, and learning it, understanding it, asking questions about it. And I just have to say, there's, if you are relying on information that is coming from somebody's particular chat, rant, or rave, you are without facts, just so you know. The nonsense that is being spewed on certain parts of social media is utterly ridiculous. And please, feel free to come and ask any one of us the details of the budget, what certain things mean, how these things work together, and don't rely on people that don't know anything and haven't asked these questions and don't understand a spreadsheet. I'm sorry. Maybe they do understand spreadsheets, but they don't understand this spreadsheet. Folks, this is, it's frustrating for us, if you can tell in my voice. It is frustrating for us when we see the stuff being spewed on social media that has no relevance to the truth. None whatsoever. And we want to talk about certain departments. You want to talk about certain how things are spent, how things are divvied up. We talked a little bit about that with the clerk's report and how just that one small portion of monies is divvied out to all these different departments and the state. The assertions being made on social media about what happens to all these millions of dollars and how people are lining their pockets. Oh, for God's sake, get a grip. This is absolutely ridiculous what things are being said. Please, we are an open book when it comes to this. We have gone out of our way to make sure that this is an open process, that we budget conservatively, that we fund all of our departments, that we fund all of the offices, and we've done so for years. These two have done so for years prior to my ever getting here. This every year, we budget conservatively and properly, and in the best interest of the citizens of this county. And for folks to spew the nonsense. Have I used the word spew too often?
No.
In this diatribe? Because I want to use it a couple or three more times. They spew this nonsense, and then it gets all ginned up into this furious ball of non-factual nonsense. And I would just encourage you to come talk to us. I'm much easier to talk to than I seem to be right now. I swear. But please come and talk to any one of us. We are willing to explain the particulars of how we come to certain decisions and how things are funded and what these numbers on the spreadsheet actually mean and how things are allocated across all departments and across all the county. And please, come and talk to us. We'd be more than happy to sit down and detail these things with you. So, thank you.
I'm going to tag on to that
Please.
with just a really quick comment. People who spread these lies and innuendos, I want you to know you're not hurting us. We're pretty resilient. You know, we're kind of the Teflon kids. We have a lot of things to roll off our backs. You're not hurting us by those comments. You are hurting our employees. You are hurting the people of Fremont County who see the nonsense that you are spewing forth.
Thank you.
And it hurts our entire community as a whole. And so I would also inject my voice into that and say, please take a moment to find out the truth, learn what really is happening, and maybe more importantly, learn what is really not happening with your taxpayer dollars here in Fremont County. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Clerk, by all means.
I try not to jump into these things because I don't get to decide the budget, ever. However, if you guys want to know how I decide my budget, you're more than welcome to come in, because I do take to heart that I may not be deciding the budget and I may not be in charge of the money. However, it's still my job to make sure that I'm spending the money wisely. And I think every elected official can say that as well. And if you have questions on that, by all means, come in and ask us. It's not like we, not to phrase a movie, Independence Day, we paid $20,000 for a hammer. But, you know, things do get expensive. And if you want to know how much that expense is, come see us.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that paper for elections has gone up almost 250% since I've taken office. So do I ask for that money? Yes, I do. Do I have an obligation to ask for it? Yes, I do. And I present that to the commissioners or to budget, and they say, okay, this is what you need, this is how much it costs, and this is what we'll ask for. And so don't think that we just say, get a random number and say, yep, that's what we want. And they say, sure, go ahead. That's not how it works. But by all means, please come and ask any of the elected officials, and we can tell you why we asked for what we asked for.
Good point. For all the electeds, and you know, if it's a department that's under our supervision, then obviously talk to us about such things, the commissioners, I mean. But all the elected officials, knowing each of them, I'm sure that they are more than willing to discuss the particulars of their budgets. And ultimately, it comes before us to be able to fit into the overall scheme of the overall budget and how each of those works together. But each of them is very knowledgeable in their own bailiwick there. And so, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Clerk, for your comments there. And before I get myself in real trouble, let's take a motion.
Yeah, before I have a motion for you, Mr. Chair, I just want to say the same thing. I lost some of my social media over a year ago, and I don't miss it at all because I don't see this crap, and I'm going to say it. I do hear about it, but the cowardness of people to do that online and to not come in and get the facts from us really ticks me off as well. I mean, our doors are open if we're here, and I encourage everybody to come in and ask, and don't go off of this spewed crap on social media. With that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve a special board meeting for the county commissioners at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, for the business of finalizing the budget for 2026.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Item number 5, the reappointment of Amanda Fauch to the Fremont County Fair Board with a term expiring December 31, 2028.
Mr. Chair, I would like to briefly explain, as we like to do at this moment in time, that we aren't simply appointing people according to our whim. They actually have asked for these appointments or these reappointments, and as Commissioner McFall stated earlier, we have a lot of things coming up in the next few weeks that we will be appointing for. If you're interested, go online, www.fremontcountyco.gov, and check it out, see where you might fit in. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move to reappoint Amanda Fauch to the Fremont County Fair Board with a term expiring December 31st of 2028.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is the reappointment of Emily Eggleston to the Fremont County Heritage Commission with a term expiring December 31, 2028. And I always take the opportunity when the Heritage Commission reappointments come up to point out the wonderful work that all of our Heritage Commission, our historical societies, and all these things working together, all the great work that they do here in the county. Emily is an important part of our Heritage Commission and the things that they're doing. We will actually have a presentation on the 9th from our Heritage Commission here for one of their members who is having to step aside. And you'll get to learn more about that on the 9th in a couple weeks. But Emily is an important part of our current Heritage Commission and is willing to stay on there through December 31, 2028, and very happy about that. And so I will move for the reappointment of Emily Avelston to the Fremont County Heritage Commission with that term expiring December 31, 2028.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with that, we are out of stuff to do. We are adjourned.
Sean Bill,